The shuttle base smelled like recycled air and rust. Ethan Carver's boots echoed on the metal grating as he moved through the loading dock, checking the manifest on his wrist display. Last transport off station before the repair lockdown. 23 hours. Until the base sealed for 6 months. He couldn't afford to miss it. His contract on Meridian Station had ended badly. Accusations. He didn't start a supervisor. He'd insulted without, meaning to a reputation that had somehow turned into something uglier in the retelling. The easiest solution was to disappear into the cargo routes. He found the hatch marked with faded numerals ST7749. The door was already open, yawning like a hungry mouth. Inside the cargo hold was dark. His hand found the light switch, but nothing happened. Secondary power lie fine. He'd seen worse ships. He pulled himself through the hatch and let it slide shut behind him, with a soft, pneumatic hiss. The darkness swallowed sound. His eyes adjusted slowly. Long shadows stretched across what looked like a medical bay converted into storage. Rows of cryopods lining the walls, their indicator lights long since dimmed. He'd heard rumors about salvage runs to dead sectors, ships pulled from the void after decades, even centuries, their systems barely functional. This one felt like a tomb, like something that had been sleeping. He took a step forward. The shadows moved, not the kind of movement that tricks the eye in bad light, the kind where something that was motionless a second ago is suddenly, impossibly facing you. Ethan froze. A sound rose from the darkness. Not mechanical, not the groan of old metal. Human, female. A whisper that multiplied into dozens of whispers, filling the hold like wind through a canyon. A male, a male, a male. His breath caught in his throat. They emerged from the shadows like ghosts given substance. 24 figures, maybe more, sitting motionless along the curved walls. Blue skin, a deep, impossible blue, the color of depths, of things that lived without sunlight. Their bodies were lean, skeletal, scarred with marks that looked like they'd been cut into their flesh deliberately. Their eyes were what made Ethan's skin go cold. They were alive. All of them. Every single one. Watching him with an intensity that felt like predatory focus. And their eyes were luminous. A pale, glowing amber that reflected light like a cat's, like something that hunted in the dark. The closest one rose slowly, unsteadily, as if her legs had forgotten how to move. She was tall, taller than Ethan, with sharp features and scar tissue that pulled at one side of her mouth, giving her face a permanent expression of anguish or hunger or something in between. Her hair was white, not grey from age, but white like bleach bone, and it fell in matted strands past her shoulders. "I am Lura," she said, her voice rough from disuse, each word in effort. "Last of the drift survivors, the last conscious ones." Ethan's hand moved instinctively toward the emergency transmitter in his pocket. She saw the motion. Something flickered in her expression. Not fear, but something sharper. "Don't," she whispered. "That won't help you. I just walked into the wrong ship," Ethan said, forcing steadiness into his voice that he absolutely did not feel. "I was looking for the cargo shuttle heading to Kepler Station. You walked into our Hunge," LRA interrupted, and the other women shifted forward, a wave of movement that made Ethan's heart spike into his throat. "Men destroyed our world, took what they wanted, left us to die. You came here to finish what they started. No, I came here by accident." "There are no accidents," LRA said. She took a step toward him, unsteady, her legs quivering with effort. "The ship doesn't make mistakes. It brought you here. It's been waiting." The deck beneath Ethan's feet vibrated, just a tremor, subtle, but he felt it resonate up through his bones. Something massive far below the cargo hold had moved, had shifted, like something enormous taking a breath after a very long sleep. LRA's head snapped up, her luminous eyes fixed on the ceiling. In that instant, Ethan saw genuine fear crack across her face, the first unguarded emotion since she'd spoken. "We need to move," she said quietly. "The old systems are starting to wake." Before Ethan could respond, she grabbed his wrist. Her fingers were cold, her grip surprisingly strong for someone who looked like they could snap like bone. She pulled him toward the rear of the cargo hold, away from the trance into deeper darkness. The other women rose, following in silence. Their footsteps were nearly soundless, practiced, cautious. The movements of people who had learned to make themselves small. "Where are we going?" Ethan pulled back slightly, resisting. "You need to report this to Station Command." "The ship isn't safe. If there are people here, there is nowhere safe," LRA said flatly. "Not anymore. Not for you." The ship lurched, not a tremor. This time, a full shudder that made metal scream in protest. Ethan staggered, crashing against the wall. His shoulder flared with pain. LRA caught him, steadying him with an arm around his chest. Up close, he could smell her salt and something acrid, like machinery run too hot. "How long have you been on this ship?" he asked. "We don't mark time," Lara said. "We mark cycles. The ship put us into deep sleep when the supplies ran out. Every few years it woke us for the breeding cycles. We were supposed to be saved. We were supposed to make it to the core worlds and restart civilization." Her voice dropped to barely a whisper. "But the men never came back. The rescue never came. So we just kept sleeping and waking and sleeping again." "For how long?" She looked at him with those terrible luminous eyes. "We stopped counting after the 400 years. Ethan felt something twist in his chest. "That's not possible. Not on the worlds, you know," LRA said. "But out here in the drift, time moves differently. Ships drift. People freeze. Systems keep running on half power for centuries. And nobody notices because nobody's listening." The deck trembled again, heavier, deeper, like something massive turning over in its sleep. LRA's face drained of color. "The Hunger Core," she whispered. "It's waking faster now." "What's the Hunger Core?" "The ship's breeding system," LRA said, her fingers dug into Ethan's arm. "When it decides there's a male present, it activates. It's been dormant for centuries waiting, but it doesn't go back to sleep easily." "I'm not staying," Ethan said. He pulled away from her, moving back toward the hatch. "I'm leaving this ship right now. I'll report this to the lights exploded on." Not gradually, all at once, emergency klaxons shrieking through the hold. Every light shifting to deep red. A robotic voice boomed through speakers distorted and ancient. "Biopulse detected. Biopulse detected. Selection protocol activated. Male presence confirmed. Male presence confirmed." Ethan spun toward LRA. "What did you?" "I didn't do anything," she said. And now her voice carried genuine panic. "The core is doing this. It sensed you. It's starting the protocol." From the depths of the ship, something roared, not mechanical sound. The roar of hydraulics under pressure, of metal screaming against metal, of something vast and hungry waking from a long, long sleep. The floor buckled beneath Ethan's feet. He stumbled, went to one knee. "Move!" Lara grabbed him again, hauling him to his feet. The women scattered, not in panic, too organized for that, too practiced, but with the efficiency of people running a practice drill. They poured toward the far end of the cargo hold, toward passages Ethan hadn't noticed in the darkness. Some of them glanced back at him as they ran, not with compassion, with something harder, with hunger of their own. Behind them, the rear wall of the cargo hold began to distort. Something massive was pushing against it from the other side, something that made the metal buckle and warp like clay. Ethan caught a glimpse of movement in the gap. Metallic limbs, scanning apparatus, the skeletal frame of something that had been built to hunt. "Hunter machines," Laura spat. "The core built them millennia ago. They're supposed to select one survivor, one woman to breed with. The core keeps the others in reserve." "And the men?" Ethan asked, even though some part of him already knew. "The core was built to eliminate the competition," LRA said. "Men are a threat to the breeding cycle. Men are always a threat." The hunter machines pulled themselves through the gap in the wall. There were 3 of them, skeletal frames of black metal, 8-legged, each one the size of a horse. They had no eyes, but something on their heads rotated. Scanning thermal sensors, Ethan realized they were looking for heat, for heartbeats. One of them locked onto him immediately. Its head snapped toward him with predatory precision. A targeting laser painted a red dot on his chest. "Run," LRA shoved him toward a maintenance corridor. The core tracks biometric signatures. It's locked onto your pulse. If it latches onto you, if it gets close enough to calibrate your biosignature. A laser cut through the air, where Ethan had been standing a millisecond before. The beam burned a hole through the cargo container behind him, the metal glowing red around the wound. Ethan ran. Lara was beside him, her longer legs eating up the distance, pulling him through the corridor as the hunter scuttled after them, their mechanical legs scratching against the metal floor like the sound of claws on bone. The quarter twisted and descended, taking them deeper into the ship's guts. The walls grew narrower, the air grew colder. Emergency lighting flickered overhead, painting everything in staccato bursts of red. Behind them, the hunter's thermal sensors winded, searching, hunting. Ethan's lungs burned. His legs felt like they were going to give out. "How far?" he gasped. "Stowbay 6, Lyra said. Semi-depressurized. The core can't lock."